14-year-old boy shoved his 11-year-old brother into a kitchen counter during a fight over 1,500 Robux. His brother's nose broke in 2 places. But the worst part of this story did not happen at the hospital. Watch until the end. Tyler was the kind of older brother who told himself he was a good older brother because he had not actually hit Mason in over a year. He was 14, Mason was 11. They shared a Roblox account. Their mother had set it up years ago, when Mason was 7 and Tyler was 10, because she did not want to manage 2 passwords. The account was technically Tyler's. Mason played on it sometimes. Brookhaven, Adopt Me, the slow social games Tyler thought were boring. Tyler had been saving Robux for 2 months, 1,500. He had been mowing lawns and putting the money on Roblox gift cards. He had been saving for a limited Forsaken skin that was dropping the next weekend. He had been telling Mason about it every single night at dinner. So when Tyler logged into the account on a Thursday afternoon and saw the balance was 0, he assumed there had been a glitch. He refreshed the page. He logged out and logged back in. He checked his transaction history, 1,500 Robux, spent, the day before, while he was at school. Mason was in the kitchen making a sandwich. Tyler walked downstairs slowly, the way people walk when they are trying not to do something they are about to do anyway. What happened in that kitchen took less than 3 seconds, and Tyler would not remember most of it. He remembered asking Mason if he had spent the Robux. Mason said yes. He did not apologize. He did not explain. He just said yes, very quietly, and looked back down at his sandwich. Tyler remembered grabbing Mason's shoulder. He remembered Mason flinching backwards. He remembered the kitchen counter behind Mason, and the corner of it that was sharp because their father had been meaning to put a corner guard on it for 2 years. He did not remember the actual shove. He remembered the sound of a face hitting a corner. There is no other sound that sounds like that, and once you hear it, you understand why. Mason did not scream. He sat down on the kitchen floor with his hand over his face, and blood started coming through his fingers in a way Tyler had never seen blood come out of a person. Their mother was upstairs. She heard the noise. She came down. She saw her younger son on the floor and her older son standing over him, and she did the thing mothers do, which is figure out who needed her first and go to that one. She went to Mason. In the emergency room, the doctor said the nose was broken in 2 places. He asked Mason what happened. Mason said he tripped. He said it twice. What Mason said next, while the doctor was setting his nose and his eyes were full of tears, only Tyler heard. He said, "Don't tell Mom about the messages." The drive home from the hospital was the kind of silence families remember for the rest of their lives. Mason was asleep in the backseat with painkillers in him. Their mother had not spoken to Tyler since they got in the car. When they got home, his mother told Tyler to go to his room. She told him she did not want to see him for the rest of the night. Then, she carried Mason upstairs and sat with him for an hour while he slept. Tyler sat on his bed. He thought about what Mason had whispered in the emergency room and could not figure out what messages he meant. There was nothing to be done. Tyler had pushed his brother into a counter and broken his nose. Whatever the messages were, they did not matter. Tyler was guilty. But he could not sleep. Around 11 at night, Tyler did the only thing he would later say he did right that day. He logged into the Roblox account. He told himself he was doing it to disable the password. He told himself a lot of things he did not entirely believe, but he logged in. The first thing he saw was the friends list. There was a username on it that Tyler did not recognize. The account had been added 2 months ago. Tyler clicked on the chat history. What Tyler read in the next 20 minutes was the part of the story he would not be able to explain to his mother. Not because it was complicated, because every time he tried to start the sentence, his throat closed up. The friend's account had a profile picture of a Roblox avatar, a boy avatar. The bio said he was 12. It said he had lost his grandfather the previous year. It said he lived with his grandmother now. It said his grandmother was very sad and he was trying to cheer her up. The messages between Mason and this boy went back 2 months. They had played Brookhaven together. The boy had told Mason about his grandmother. He had told Mason that his grandmother loved birthdays. He had said her birthday was coming up. He had said he wanted to surprise her with something nice. He had asked Mason if he had any Robux to spare. He had said his grandmother always wanted a fancy avatar but was too embarrassed to ask. He had said it would mean everything if Mason could help. Mason had asked the boy how much it would cost. The boy had said about $1,500. Tyler stopped breathing for about 10 seconds when he read that number. He kept scrolling. What Tyler found in the next 10 minutes was not just messages, it was a pattern. The boy had asked Mason a lot of questions. He had asked what school Mason went to. He had asked what time Mason got home. He had asked if Mason's parents checked his Roblox messages. He had asked if Mason had Discord. He had asked if Mason wanted to video chat sometime, just to show Grandma the present. Mason had answered all of them. He had answered the way an 11-year-old who wanted to help a sad grandmother answers. He had answered honestly. The last message was from that morning, before Mason had even left for school. The boy had said, "Your brother sounds mean. You don't have to tell him about us. This is our secret. Grandma says hi." Tyler read that sentence 3 times. Then he stood up from his desk very slowly, and he walked across the hallway, and he opened the door to his brother's room. Mason was awake. The painkillers had worn off enough that he was just lying there in the dark with the splint on his face. He turned his head when Tyler came in. Tyler sat on the edge of the bed. 11 years old, splint across the face, black eyes already forming. His brother, who had not screamed when he hit the counter, because the only thing in his head at that moment had been, "Don't tell Mom about the messages." What Tyler said next was something he had never said to his brother in his entire life. He had never said it because he had never had a reason to. He said, "I read the messages." Mason started crying. Not loudly, the way Mason cried about everything. Tyler said, "You weren't stealing the Robux. You were trying to help someone." Mason nodded. His nose was broken and he could not really nod, but he tried to. Tyler said the thing he had come into the room to say. The thing that was the reason he would tell his mother about the messages an hour later. The thing that made the police involved by the next afternoon. He said, "I'm sorry I didn't ask you why." This is the part of the story that, if you were not paying attention, you would think the lesson was about predators, about online safety. But that is not what this story is about. This story is about the fact that 4 hours before he was sitting on his brother's bed, Tyler had looked at a missing balance in a Roblox account and decided, without asking a single question, that his brother was a thief. Tyler had been right that something was wrong. He had been wrong about who was wrong about it. The man on the other end of those messages was arrested the next afternoon, in a state Tyler could not pronounce. The detectives told Tyler's mother that Mason was the 3rd child this man had been working on. The other 2 had not been as lucky as Mason. They had not had an older brother who lost his temper over 1,500 Robux. They had not had a kitchen counter with a sharp corner. They had not had a broken nose that interrupted everything. Tyler had hurt his brother. He had also, without knowing it, saved him. Both things were true. Neither of them canceled the other. Mason's nose healed in 8 weeks. The black eyes faded faster. Mason and Tyler still share a Roblox account, but they share it differently now. They sit in the same room when they play. Tyler asks Mason what he is doing, and Mason answers. If you are watching this, here's what Tyler learned that night, and what Mason learned the hard way. If a stranger online tells you something sad about themselves and then asks you for Robux, that is not a friend. A real friend does not need a sad story to ask for help. A real friend does not tell you to keep secrets from your family. A real friend never asks how old your parents are or what time they leave the house. The moment someone you have only met in a game starts asking you those questions, you stop talking and you tell someone in your real life. Not because you did anything wrong, because they did. And if you are the older brother, or the older sister, or the friend who is a year ahead and thinks they have everything figured out, when the kid you are supposed to look out for goes quiet, that quiet is information. That quiet is them telling you something they cannot say out loud yet. Tyler heard the wrong thing in that silence. He heard guilt. What was actually there was fear. Most of the dangerous things that happen to kids online do not happen because the kid was stupid. They happen because the kid was kind, and someone used that against them. Kindness is not the problem. Not knowing the difference between a friend and someone pretending to be one, that is the problem. And now you know the difference. So next time, if it ever happens to you, you will know. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Also, share this video with your friends. I'd really appreciate it.